Hey everybody, this is Corey from Thought Soldiers, and today I'm back with...
Samantha from Samantha Rodriguez blog.com.
And how are you doing, Samantha?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're off to a great start. No laughter or jokes before this. Completely
Nope.
start. No, we're completely normal. So today, what are we talking about?
We are going to talk about angels and guides.
Okay, want to get us started?
Absolutely. So we wanted to talk. So I'm just going to be pretty straightforward and honest. We were kind of thinking about what to talk about, and we were going to talk about something on like the other side of the spectrum. But we thought, let's keep it lighter. And so, and this is kind of how I was, my personal journey has been, specifically throughout my, there's a course that I'm taking on an intuition course. And so this is kind of how I was introduced to guides, how I was introduced first to angels and guides, and then I was introduced to like the less, the other side of the spectrum. So I figured let's just do the same thing here with this webinar. So let's start by talking. Do you want to talk a little bit about like your personal angels and guides?
Yeah.
And then how we got introduced to them, how our journey, like how we met them, and then follow up with well, like always, at the very end, we'll guide you through a meditation. And so I'll be guiding the meditation. Corey will be holding space and doing Reiki. So stay until the end because you don't want to miss it. So do you want to talk a little bit about your personal guides?
Yeah, definitely. So how I started to notice contact with my guides was, it's something I always felt as a kid growing up. I was always, surrounded or had something watching over me, but it wasn't something I really truly noticed until, I think I don't know if I've mentioned this story on, maybe I have in one of my videos, but, when I was a kid, this is kind of what started with my intuition, actually, and the recognition of what I had as a gift. When I was a kid, I was on my way to Comic-Con with my dad, and I was dressed up as Captain America, and we were on our way to. So we worked at a comic book shop as a kid, and we were on our way to Comic-Con to meet my mom and brother, and my dad and I were in the car, and I'm wearing my Captain America outfit with my Captain America mask, and I have my head out the window, and something tells me, buckle up. And I never really heard anything before, never really felt anything, but something said, listen. So I pulled into the car, got my head out the window, and buckled up, and 30 seconds later, we got T-boned by a Camaro going 60 miles an hour. And it was a nasty accident. My dad and I were both okay without a scratch on us. But that was my first introduction to guides and spirit guides, kind of telling me what to do and stepping in. So for me, it was one of those things where it was always when some sort of tragedy was about to happen or I was in a very dangerous situation, something would pull me out of it or something would tell me to get out. It was, I didn't really make much sense of it other than just really learning to listen to it. And as I've now evolved in my journey, I recognize that I have personal guides, my higher self, but I start to now work with more archangels, mainly Michael. Michael's the main one I've been working with, and same with Saint Germain. And now I'm starting to step into, like today I got a notice to work with Archangel Haniel, a little bit more with Uriel as well, especially with being of service to other individuals. And so, but that's how I got introduced to my angels and guides, was at a very young age. And it was something I didn't really know. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I was always protected and guided, and I've learned to listen to that voice.
Interesting. That's a really neat story.
Yeah. What about
you? So I wasn't really introduced, like, so I was brought up Catholic, and so you learn, like, you know, angel prayers, which I actually to this day, like they're, you know, they're common and we know them. And we learn about, like, the three main archangels. Excuse my throat. But that was pretty much it. It was just like part of the indoctrination, and but you still know that they're around and you know that they're real. But I didn't actually start kind of learning more, like having more of a conscious experience with them. The first course that I took with Christy she has like a connecting to guides meditation. And it's funny because it was very early on into like my awakening journey, and so I did the meditation and everything, but I was just like, nothing really popped up. Like, I didn't see any guides, but I didn't think much of it. I just continued on. Looking back though, I do kind of sort of like your experience in the car. And mind you, I was a grown up. I was driving in the car, but I was falling asleep. And I remember clearly, like, I just felt like like I dozed off for maybe 2 seconds, and someone was like on the road, and I was like, okay, someone took the wheel for me, because I could have probably been in an undesirable situation. And so that was kind of like, oh my gosh, like something happened, someone was here, someone was protecting me, because I was not in my five senses. And so that was probably the only one that I could remember pre-awakening. Post-awakening this is really, really recent. So you know, during my intuition course, the second half of the intuition course is when we started diving more into like angels and archangels. And so at that point, like, my intuition had opened up a little more. And so, actually, no, I had another experience. I had a done maybe years ago, and I wanted to know who my guides and angels were. So the lady that I had the reading, you know, told me a couple of them at that time. And so fast forward a couple months ago, you know, we get introduced with two guides and angels, and I go through again the meditation. And now that, you know, that I'm way more aware than I was before, the ones that come through a lot are Archangel Metatron, Archangel Michael, Jesus, Mary, and Mary Magdalene have come through. Saint Germain also, even though I kind of forgot about that. So those have been the, just kind of the more dominant ones that come through. And so now, you know, going through the course and stuff, it's really neat for me to call upon them. Like, I feel like I've never really had like a one-on-one relationship with them, and now I do. So that's been really neat.
So how do they communicate with you? What are their ways of talking and letting you know that they're around, things of that nature?
It's a really good question, because for the most part, I feel like, because I've been kind of sort of unconscious and unaware that they're there for so long, I'm the one that kind of pulls them in. Mm-hmm. You know, when I meet them, or when I feel like I need them. I mean, obviously they're always around. Mm-hmm. They've always been around, and I feel like they've always managed. I feel, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's like I've had like keeping when I go about life in a high vibration, I feel like they help me keep myself in a high vibe. Mm-hmm. But for the most part right now, it's like I feel like, and I think we all at some point kind of feel like, I need proof, like I want to know that you're around. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's more like, I know you're around. Come here, come now, mm-hmm. Because I need some help. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yeah. What about you?
So of course, numbers are a huge one.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm such a number freak. But also too, I recognize that like synchronicity is also something you create within. You know, the more that I'm, mm-hmm. Going in and out of my the understanding, the awareness, I do know that synchronicity is kind of something I also create within. So when you watch this video back, you'll see me look over a few times, because actually, this is one way they show up, is they'll show up in my peripheral. I'll just see, you and I have dealt with this, the flashes of light, the lights going on and off in the house. Sorry, the lights are going off right now as I'm talking about it. It's really cool. I wish I could, I'm not going to turn my camera. But, yeah, like right when I'm talking about, the lights are going off. The flashes of light, numbers, feathers. Feathers has been a huge one.
That's true.
Out in public, seeing white feathers, or just feathers in general. I also have so since I'm very clairsentient, I could feel them around. My body will pick up on it. And that's actually been really hard to discern, because when your body is so apt to feeling energies, having to learn what is angelic, what is on the other end of the spectrum, mm-hmm. what is someone else's energy. That's been a huge one. The biggest one for me too is flashes of light. And it's funny, because right now my guides are coming in and they're showing themselves, and so now I know what to talk about, because they're showing themselves in different ways. But flashes of light. So when I see flashes of blue, I know it's Archangel Michael. Flashes of purple, Saint Germain. Flashes of red, Archangel Uriel. Raphael green. I'll also get like white sparkles when it's like a light being, or something that is multidimensional, something from out there, out in the unknown. So the flashes of light, that's been a big one. I've also seen, and I want to mention this, just see if anyone's ever gotten this. I see pinwheels too, which is interesting. It's like I'll see a light. It's like a light that is crossed like this, and one section's black, one section's white, one section's black, one section's white, spins. So I've seen those quite often. I've also got clairaudient messages. I'm actually building on the clairaudience a little bit more, because mine's more claircognizant, so I get more of that just intuitive knowing. The other way too is like that warm embrace, like they're just getting like an angel hug, you know. And it's one of those things that you know, for a while once again, for me too, the connection is growing, because you know, the one thing about our guides is that they won't come to us when we're in a state of fear. We have to be a vibrational match to our guides. So if we're in fear or we're in that low vibe state, that vibration is so out of sync that they can't come close. They're still there, but they won't come in as close. And so actually I had to learn to work on my vibe to let them in. Like, they were always there. And when I'm stating this, because I don't want people to think like, oh, I'm low vibing right now, like my angels aren't around me. No, they're always around you. It's just as far as close as they can get to communicate, you have to be a vibrational match. And you also have to be open to it too. You have to believe. Like for me, they showed themselves in ways that wouldn't completely freak me out. And then as I became more and more open, they showed themselves in ways that were a little bit more obvious. And at first it was a little like, am I losing my mind? Am I seeing things? Am I hearing things? What's going on here? And now I just know. And whether it could be chopped up to, you know, my history of, you know, substance abuse with mental health stuff, whatever, for me, it's my guides. So I've learned to trust too, and this is something you've helped me to tune into, is to trust the messages that come through when they show up. And they're going to show up different for everybody. They're always going to, I always say it's a personal communication. They're going to talk to you however you're going to be receptive to it. So one person may actually straight up see Archangel Michael. Some person may see flashes of light. Someone may get intuitive feelings. Some may see numbers. It's really personalized. And the beautiful part about this connection is there's some general ways that I know I'm connected with them, but it's completely personal to me. And that's where a lot of this is building that communication, has been letting them in and saying, show yourself. And when they do show themselves, however, whether I hear it, feel it, see it, taste it, smell it, I know that they're there. And that's when I go, okay, this is how I know this person's around. And then I can start to strengthen that connection and know when they show up.
Yeah. I wanted to follow up a little bit on that, because a lot of us, you're right. Everyone is different. You know, everyone has their intuitive senses, different intuitive senses heightened than others. And so some people, like you, see them and sense them, hear them. Some people may just know that they're there or may smell them. All that actually has happened with that. I don't smell them as often, but I have smelled some of them, and I can't remember what that's called. So there's 7 clairs.
Yeah, 7 clairs. While you're talking, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. So back in the day, like I was out in the yard and I was like, I smell something. Like, this is not a normal smell. This is not a flower. Like, I don't have any flowers. And then I smelled it once. I smelled it several times before. But that's, I guess, something that I need to tune in and, like, you know, heighten up a little bit. But the other thing is, when for like people that are out there, like, you know, trying to that are asking themselves, like, how do I communicate them, like, who's my angel, who's my guide, honestly, ask questions. And so this is where, like, your intuition comes in, because the answer that comes up for you in the first 2-3 seconds is the answer. You may have, a thought in your mind. You might hear it in your mind. You might see it in your mind. And that is the beginning of, opening up to intuition, opening up to hearing, to communicating with them more. And so it's, there's nothing wrong with, like, going, getting a reading and, like, finding out, but also starting to have that one-on-one relationship with them and asking, okay, who's my guide? Who's here? Who's right now? Who's here now? Or who do I need to call upon for help in this particular area?
Mm-hmm.
Like you are the one that has the ability to have that one-on-one communication with them. And it's a process. I think for all of us, we come here kind of so disconnected, and we're not really taught that when we come. But now more and more of us are waking up,
mm-hmm.
and I think we're feeling them more. Like their presence is being known even more. There's so like with numbers, I totally forgot about numbers. I see numbers all the time too,
mm-hmm.
and so many people see numbers. So many people see repeating numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's kind of like they're paying attention, like we're paying attention more to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
by the way, the smelling is clear salience.
Salience.
Clear
Yes.
salience.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's been one that's popped up. It's not like a common thing, but I have smelled. I have smelled some of them before. I was trying to see what else I wanted to say about that.
You were talking about
we're talking about numbers, and we're talking about how I think people are more and more awakening to them, mm-hmm. to angels and to guides. I guess this was just part of my training, part of my part of my my teacher described them a certain way and categorized them a certain way. But I think for me, I just call everybody guides. Mm-hmm. and I think that's why I said angels are guides, because angels fall in the archangels fall into the category of angels, even though not all angels are archangels. And then guide could be we haven't talked about elementals and animals.
I was waiting to go there because I actually have stories about that too.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning, because that was another thing I wanted to talk about is the elements as guides as well. Mm-hmm. So do you want to kick that off, or?
No, go ahead. I was just saying that for me, I've lumped everyone under everyone that's not an angel mm-hmm. in the guide category.
Got
and
it.
So anyone from ascended master to spirit animal to elemental and to just anyone in a high vibe, high intention energy mm-hmm. is kind of, for me, lumped under guides. So yeah, there's a whole spectrum of guides that we can go into.
Yeah, with guides, I'm glad you mentioned elementals, because I didn't think too much about elementals and animals even too, and totems, animal totems, things like that, until I had a moment where it was another crisis moment where I wasn't supposed to make it out of a situation I was in, and I had an abundance of birds show up in my area, and I had a friend sitting next to me. He's all, man, he's like the animals have your back, because I'm not going to go into detail about what happened, but we saw that there's just this influx of animals around us, or around me, that were helping me, guiding me, and following me. And then I noticed certain insects showing up at different times. The biggest one lately has been the bee. The bee has been showing up a lot. Cats too. We talked about cats a lot. I've had random cats showing up. So animals have been a big one, especially during very important times in my life, especially like owls and hawks. Hawks have been a very, very key ones for me that have shown up. Another form of guide too, something I wanted to talk about to kind of segue a little bit, is when you start to step into healing modalities too, you're going to get new guides. So like me, as soon as I started to get into Reiki, one of my guides is, of course, is Mikao Usui, and a bunch of other Reiki guides that I work with. And it's very interesting when you start to step into the light worker role and put yourself out there and pick up healing modalities, because you start to see how freaking guided and protected you are, especially when it comes down to animals too and how they interact with you. But another form of guide too that shows up are earth angels, people that show up in our lives that either, I've had those trigger people that come up and they say just a few words to me that I've only seen this person once in my life, and they have that forever impact. Those people that come and they teach you important lessons. It's really, I'm glad you started to mention kind of like the elements and the guides aspect, because you start to recognize that like it's everywhere. It's not just, the archangels or the angels. When you start to step into multidimensionality, you start to see future things coming around, shadow beings. I've had different presences show up, angels, animals, just energy in general. I mean, it's everywhere, and that's when you start to really notice the support we have on our journey, is when you start to recognize it and see it. And it can kind of, like, for a sense, get a little overwhelming, because I'm like, dang, like, it's everywhere. But it's also too, that's like the magic of the universe, is to know that we're that divinely guided and protected. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, you're so right. It's everywhere. I mean, when we talk about elements, we talk about however many elements people believe there is, however many elements. But like the main ones, like air is always around. When you become aware of that, like magic starts to happen, and you start to tap into to new vibrations and like new realities and new ways to, really live and commune and like live and I'll say communicate with them because they're all like, they're here, they're all around, and they are all part of this. They're part of like the master plan to, towards the ascension process and towards like, healing the planet, and they're helping us. They're helping us, and again, I think we're stepping into more of that role, and we're like just kind of tapping into the surface, and people are waking up more and more. I personally have always been, like an outdoor person. Like I've always loved being outside, being in nature. My family loves being in nature. So I know that I always had like that deep connection. Once I started opening up, and I started to like meditate and everything, like I would do it outside, and then I would spend hours and hours outside, because I just wanted to be outside. There's this like really comforting energy and really loving energy that elementals offer, like just the elements in general. And then and I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about this, but when it comes to elementals and like earth guides, there comes the fairies and the gnomes and the dwarves, and like all of that stuff is actually real.
Yeah, the fae are funny. I love the fae.
The fae, the fairy kingdom is, they're cool. And there's a lot of magic for me. Like there's a lot of magic that came through when I connected to them. But they're also they're also here to protect the planet, and they're like, it's like I've heard stories of people that like, if you are not taking care of the planet and if you're not doing, good stuff, then they might pull some tricks on you. And so learning to like communicate and like be in communion with them is to our advantage for sure.
Yeah, and when working with, because the only ones I've worked with are the fairies, and a big thing is giving back to them, because they have been tricked before, and they have been hurt by humans, that I've heard from a few people. But also to give back to the planet. They're not just gonna help you free willingly. We got to help them out as well. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and the elements too is something that I was about to touch base on, and you popped right into it too. That I forgot to mention is like noticing when, like when I'm playing guitar, for instance, when I'm playing guitar or I'm thinking certain thoughts are really down, like the wind will pick up. Kind of like that support of knowing that everything's okay, or like if I'm having a dark day and then like I think a thought, the sun will start to shine a little bit brighter, the clouds will move right at that time. Various things like that, to be able to know that you're completely supported and guided by the elements. Water too, being next to the ocean and having the waves crash at a certain moment when you're thinking a certain thought. And it really did help to bring that level of awe and wonder into what's really going on out there, in the realms and in our support and guidance. Another thing I had happen too a lot is where when I started to get more in tune with Mother Earth too, is having moments where I'm freaking out and I start to cry, and right when I start to cry, it rains. I've also had moments too where I'm about to have a crisis, and like I'm freaking out, and then a natural fire happens in California. And it's not to say that like my thoughts created the fire. It's not like that, but it's that we can get so in tune with Gaia that we will have an emotional response to what's going on with her as well. And it can coincide with our lives. And that's where I really started to notice that I'm at one with nature, is that like I've had moments of crises happen in my life that were divinely guided, that were happening at the same time as like a natural disaster was occurring in California. So what Gaia goes through, I go through to a certain degree, and I can actually, it gets to the point now where when I can forecast the weather and I kind of know what I'm going to be looking for, like if it's going to be gray, I know it may be a little bit low vibing. If it's going to be raining, maybe I have some clearing and some transmuting I need to do that I'm unaware of. So it's really interesting once you start to just step away from, or for me, when I started to learn that these guides are everywhere, that they're embodied as this huge unification of here on planet Earth. It's more than just a few angels. It's everything, and that's the beauty of the connectedness of this. So.
Absolutely. So I guess to kind of segue into the meditation, just before though, I just wanted to like add to the fact that like, especially going through spiritual awakening, and you're going through the dark night of the soul, and you're going through a lot of things that you think you're going through, quote unquote, by yourself. Like it's one of those things where you can always call upon these angels and guides. You can start, that communication, because sometimes, unfortunately, we have to go through, that like isolation and even depression sometimes in order for us to kind of wake up even more, which is part of the process. But knowing that they're there and they're always around, and you can always ask for them to come forth, ask if you want more information, like who's your main guide at this moment. Like just ask for them to come forth, ask for help, ask for gifts, You know, because they're always there. They're like 24/7.
Yeah. And also too, another guide I noticed, and now that you mentioned this too, is that very important people on our journey that wake us up, their higher selves will show up. I've had people show up in dreamscape before that have helped me out, that are people that are here in the physical, things like that. So that's another big one is, guide wise, is if you have a really strong connection with someone, their higher self may end up popping in saying hi every once in a while. So and I've learned I could call upon people that give me that okay. There's a few healers I've met that said, hey, if you ever need anything, call upon my field. Asia Andromeda actually has mentioned it in a video where she's like, if you guys need help with clearing or anything, you could call upon my field. And that's part of her multidimensionality, is being able to call upon her energy, call upon her higher self to come help you. And so that's really another thing too, is that these really strong connections you make with people, their higher selves will show up in your dreamscape. And sometimes they will astrally show up too. It's cool, it's fun.
It is. It's really, I mean, it's cool once you get to that point of like, you know, because sometimes it's a process, especially when you're just waking up and you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, who are these? Like, but when you get to that point, which, you know, for whatever stage you're at right now, you will get to that point where you're like, this is normal. Like, this is the new normal. This is going to be the new normal.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's fun, it's playful, like the energies are here to help, and the energies are here to assist us. So there's literally nothing to fear.
Yeah.
So, with that, I'm going to go into the meditation.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, we're going to do the same thing. I will turn off my camera while I guide the meditation. And then Corey is going to hold space for us and send some Reiki. So,
you going to shut off the cameras?
Yeah.
I'm shutting off my camera just because I don't want my hands up on the screen the whole time.
Okay.
I'm also gonna mute my end too, just because people are walking in and out right now of my house.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. Whoops. So just take a moment to relax. We're going to take a couple of deep breaths. And just allow your body to relax, your mind to clear. It's going to bring everything around you to a halt. And tune in. Be completely conscious of where you are right now in your body, your muscles, your heart. And just take another deep breath in to connect to your heart. And take that energy all the way down so that you can feel the love and the support that's here for you, and how safe you are. And then just connect back to your heart. Take your energy towards the sky, where you can see, sense, or kind of imagine, visualize kind of a curtain opening up in the sky. And just see a lot of light coming through, a shower of light coming all the way down into your body. So open up your crown and allow this light to come through, down your face, down into your third eye, down your neck, into your throat, expanding out. Allow it to come down your shoulders, down your back, down your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your hands, and your fingertips. Allow the energy to come down your chest, your heart, your lungs, all your organs, and your your stomach, and all of your organs. Allow it to come down your hips, down your legs, your knees, your ankles, and your feet, washing away and clearing any lower dense energy around your body. And then take that energy into the ground, connect all the way down into the center of the planet one more time. Feel that energy. Allow that energy to permeate your energy, and then just all the way back up into your feet, up your legs, your hips, your torso, your arms, your neck, and your head. And just pull both energies into your heart. You're going to put both hands in front of your heart. We're going to create a beautiful bubble of light in front of our heart. And then put that ball of energy inside of your heart and allow it to expand past your body, past the room you're in, past the city you're in, past the country you're in, past the entire planet. Just take a moment to just sense how expanded you can be. Remember that you have no limits. You can expand as out as you can and as you want. And just bring your awareness back into your body. I want you to just kind of picture yourself in your ball of energy. So this is a multi-dimensional ball of energy. Yes, you're expanded, but you can also kind of bring it in closer to your body. And just so that you can feel safe in the space. This is a loving, caring, supportive space. And we're going to bring forth one of your angels or guides. So again, whatever comes up in your mind is the answer, is what's actually happening. So we're going to call one angel or guide to kind of step forward and just be in front of you. And you can ask questions. If you don't see anything, you can ask it an angel? Is it an elemental? Is it a animal, spirit animal? Maybe you can hear it. If nothing really comes up in your mind, you can ask questions so that you can hear the answer. And then usually what I do when my favorite part of working with angels and guides is receiving gifts. And so think of something in your life that you want some help with. Whatever it is, challenge, a problem, an issue, a situation, an experience, whatever area of your life it may be about, just think of one thing. And we're going to ask for that spirit guide or angel to gift you with something that can help you resolve this particular issue or situation or experience. So I just want you to visualize yourself, your hands coming in front of your body, and just open up your palms. Okay, and ask this angel or spirit guide to hand something, gift you something that will help you. And don't judge. Whatever comes, let it come. Whatever they hand to you, whatever you see or whatever you hear, just be completely open to it. So once you get either a visual or you hear or maybe you sense something, you can ask questions. So we're going to ask, how do I use this gift? Because sometimes it as totally lost the word. As logical as it may seem the gift is, there might be a different use to it. So you can ask, how do I use it? You can ask, when is the best time for me to use it? And then you can even ask, because sometimes for me, sometimes I forget. I forget to use the gift that they've given me. So we can ask, send me a reminder, send me a little nudge or a little hint so that I can remember to use this gift, so that I can remember that I have this tool now that I can use. And you can even ask them, please be persistent. You can ask them to be persistent. You can ask them to, keep giving you signals, keep repeating keep repeating whatever it is that they're doing to communicate, like keep repeating it until you understand or until you remember. Like, be persistent. You can ask them to be persistent. Okay, so you can ask whether you can put this gift somewhere inside of your body. You're just gonna keep it within you. And we're going to thank them for coming forth and for this gift. We're going to be tuned back in. And the last thing we're going to do is I want you to put your hands in front of your heart as well. Again, to create a bubble of energy. You're going to visualize inside this bubble of energy your happy result. So whatever issue or challenge, problem that you had in mind, that you tuned into to get some help, I want you to put in this blessing bomb the result that you want. And be very, very visual with it. You know, see it, hear the things around, smell, sense, touch, taste. And you can even kind of visualize the gift in this situation. You can see yourself using the gift. Okay, and as you picture this, we're going to send this bubble of light up into source light so that the situation can be upgraded, can be resolved in the now moment. So I'm getting kind of guided to come back into the body. And so anywhere in the body, since sending Reiki, tune into whatever part of the body that you need to open up and expand and upgrade, and focus on that chakra so that you can receive the energy that you need to receive in order to make this happen. So essentially, you can always tune in to your body, to your chakras, and ask how filled up, how expanded they are, and bring more light into them. So with God, I'm going to close the meditation. So bring both your palms together in prayer position. So I can close off this meditation and bring yourself back to present awareness, heart consciousness, and you can open. So I want to chime in real quick that you can always call upon Corey or myself for any guidance, any energy, any coaching that you may need. Maybe I should wait for Corey to say something.
Sorry, I was still muted. No, I definitely, if anyone ever needs help, you can call upon my field. I give you permission to just imagine what I do when I call upon someone's field, and they've given me their permission, of course, is I will just close my eyes in meditation and just imagine that person standing right in front of me, and just ask them to assist me in whatever I need, and they're more than willing to show up. And I know that's true for me, and Samantha said it for herself as well. So if you guys ever need that energetic support, and you don't feel comfortable reaching out in the physical, you can always tune into, to me at least, and call upon my field for guidance and support in whatever you need.
Yeah. How can people reach you if they do want to work with you in the physical?
Well, turn your camera back on. So if they want to reach me in the physical, all my information is going to be in the description box. I have a new email, actually.
What?
New email, thoughtsoldiers, thoughtsoldiers@gmail.com.
Yeah.
New calendar that I need to post. And yeah, upgrade. I just upgraded everything.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, thanks to Samantha's help for finally pushing me towards upgrading and adding more content. So I have an appointed calendar. I have a website as well, www.thoughtsoldiers.com, with all of my stuff listed on there. So if anybody wants any help or guidance, everything's going to be on thoughtsoldiers.com, as well as in my description box. And Sam, how can we get a hold of you?
Samantha Rodriguez blog.com. That's
Simple.
my hub.
And I'm going to have all of your information in my description box as well. And if this is posted on your channel,
yes, I'll have his description.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
Simple, easy, fun. Sam, thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was wonderful. And I wanted to mention the gift thing. I remember I did a group clearing session with you, which I'm gonna plug your group clearing sessions because they my butt. But there was one where I got a gift from Archangel Uriel, actually, and that was such a beautiful moment. I'm glad you kind of went back into that meditation of the connection and receiving gifts, because there's so much they're willing to give us. We just have to open up, and we got to ask too. We got to ask.
Ask and open up.
Ask and
That's all.
remain open. Easy, simple. Well, I make it very complicated. It's not though. It's not complicated. So thank you so much for guiding us through that. I'm officially exhausted. I'm gonna go to sleep now. You can end the video. I'm just kidding. So guys, thank you for coming and checking this out. Once again, all of our information is going to be in the description boxes, and feel free to comment. Please click like. Please click subscribe. If you want a quick thumbs down, click it twice. And I love that. Ever since I heard that, I forget who said it. I love it. I'm gonna keep using that one. The Lightworker's journey of you hit thumbs down, hit it twice. And Sam, anything you want to end with?
No, I want to thank everyone for being here, for tuning in, for being open. You guys can always listen to this meditation as often, always. And remember that you don't have to actually go into that whole meditation, like connection meditation, in order to speak with them and in order to ask them. You can do it anytime. I do kind of probably like connect to the light just so that you're connected and that you get the real deal. You know, because again, like you said, their vibration is really high up there. So it's like you kind of actually have to tune into that energy first. So just take your energy up, and it'll be easier to connect with them. But you can always ask them questions. You can always ask them for gifts. You can always ask them for help. The thing with gifts that's really neat that I just love is the whole. It's as simple as thinking about the gift, and obviously if they said, "Oh, this is how you use it," whatever visual or guidance you got from how to use a gift. It's all a mental game. Like you visualize, you sense it, and the energy shifts. The energy shifts as you're thinking about it and using the gift in the way that they told you, and it's absolutely magical. Like I've had time and experience after experience where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like I have a visual, I have the gift come through, and this whole energy just shifts. So try it out. Let us know how it goes.
Thank you so much, Sam, for that. And that's all we got, guys. So
yay.
Thank you again for joining us. And I know I will see you guys on the other side. Sam, you want to close out?
Sure. Thank you all, and hope to see you again on the next one.
Definitely.
Bye.
Bye.